Yo, peace was good. Welcome to another hip hop album review. This is part 305. The album that I would like to review this lovely Sunday afternoon is Biggie with his second posthumous album, Duets, the final chapter, released in 2005. Shout out to the whole Miami Dade area. 305, that's the area code for 305. Then you have 786 and places like that. But like 305 is like the most known one, that kind of thing. But yeah, let's get into it. You guys know who Biggie is. I did a review on his first three albums, including Born Again, Life After Death, and Notorious B.I.G. If you guys don't know who Biggie is, I don't know what to tell you. You guys been living under the rock. He's probably one of the most famous people dead, and that's sad to say. Yeah, but yeah. Now I'm reviewing this album. I know some of you guys have been um, telling me, "Oh, I hope you review duets," and I appreciate the comments that I've been getting too regarding Born Again. I've heard people tell me that that's their favorite album, things of that nature. I think that's pretty dope. I like to see different opinions. That's cool. I personally don't think it's one of his best, but hey, you know what? I'm not really mad at that. So, different strokes for different folks, as they would say. But I respect that. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, that's just my thoughts on that. Now, I remember this album coming out like roughly around Christmas time of 2005. 2005. By that time, I was 18. I just graduated high school in May of that year, and then usually Christmas time I go to Costa Rica. That's where my family's from my mom's side, so I go over there, spend Christmas and New Year's over there. So that year was no different. And at that time, that's when I just got into the iPod, the iPod Classic, the old one. I think mine was like I believe it was a 30 gig at the time. That was like the biggest one at the time. And I downloaded this album and I put it on my iTunes. I put it into my iPod and stuff like that. And then so at the time I used to always put like the whole album, but I stopped doing that. I just put like songs that I like from the album just to save space because I don't know, I don't like everything on every album, so I just like what I like, you know what I'm saying? That's the whole point of your playlist, is to show stuff that you personally like and you can share with the world, that kind of thing. So but yeah, getting back to this album again, came out around Christmas time. This album spawned three singles which include Spit Your Game, Nasty Girl, which I think was like the biggest single of the album, and Hold Your Head featuring Bob Marley. Alright. Now let's get into what the album looks like. Right here, you see the kind of graffiti look of Biggie. Everybody's seen this picture before with the crown tilted. Definitely like around the Life After Death era. You could definitely tell. You can see right here. You see like the Brooklyn Bridge right here. All right. Open it up. What the CD looks like. And then basically the same picture of the back track listing, just without the words. All right. All right. Then open the CD or the booklet rather. You see Biggie. Everybody's seen that picture before. Then we got Biggie when he was that was like when he was rolling with the cane. So this is like Life After Death era when he had that car accident. That this is Biggie before the car accident, before the cane. I think this was like around 95, 96. I want to say a little definitely after Ready to Die. Everybody seen this picture before. Everybody knows that picture. Yeah, nothing too crazy, you know what I mean? And you got Biggie and Puffy facing each other. I think that was like the Source Wars or something, like some concert. Alright. Now let's get into the features. The features include Diddy, Eminem, Obi Trice, Twista, Bone Thugs, The Commission, which is Biggie and Jay-Z, it was rumors that they were working on an album together, but obviously we all know what happened, so that never came to fruition, unfortunately. Big Pun, Fat Joe, Freeway, Snoop Dogg, Ludacris, Faith Evans, Sherry Dennis. Whatever happened to Sherry Dennis? Bobby Valentino, uh, The Game, Faith Evans, uh, Diddy I mentioned before, Nelly, Jagged Edge, Every Storm. That's another person I haven't heard of in a while. Tupac, Mary J. Blige, Nas, Lil Wayne, Joel Santana, Jim Jones, Mobb Deep, Scarface, Akon, Big G of Boys in the Hood, T.I., Slim Thug, Missy Elliott, R. Kelly, Charlie Wilson of the Gap Band fame, um, Bob Marley, The Clips, and Korn. Those are the features of the album. That's a lot of Jesus Christ. That's a lot of features, man. Now let's get into the producers. Producers include Eminem, Swiss Beats, Danger. Danger, I believe he was affiliated with Timberland at one point. He was like his understudy and shit at one point. Sean C, dope producer. Sean C and LV. He's worked with Big Pun. They've worked with Jay-Z. They did Rock Boys for Jay-Z. But yeah, let me get back to the producers. Coptic, another dope producer. I know him from like the Boot Camp Click era when he's done a couple of stuff for them. Faith Evans, Andre Harris, Cool and Dre, basically. Jazzy Faye, Just Blaze, Stevie J, Havoc of Mobb Deep, Reefer, Chink Santana, Scott Storch, DJ Green Lantern, dope producer and dope mixtape. He had dope mixtapes at one point. Harvey Joe Hooker Pure, D Dot, Clinton Sparks, Scram Jones, and Korn, Jonathan Davis and Atticus Ross, and Wayne Barrow. Those are the features of the album. Now let's get into the meat and potatoes, the track listing of the album. So now let's get into it. Track 1, B.I.G. Live in Jamaica intro. It's basically Biggie in Jamaica at Sting of 1996. Basically Sting, the concept of Sting is what the original verse is, what verses is now was back then. Jamaica was doing that first. So basically you have like artists that's in competition with each other, and they're doing like a verses basically. Basically it's the original concept of verses what we have today. But Jamaica was been doing that in the 80s and 90s. So I just kind of thought it out there basically. But it's just him him in Jamaica. This is like when there's a clip I think on YouTube, you can find on YouTube, like he's being wheeled out in a wheelchair, he's on a mic and that kind of thing. So but yeah, track 1, B.I.G. Live in Jamaica. Track 2, It Has Been Said, featuring Diddy, Eminem, and Obi Trice. This was an okay track. It's just basically Biggie. It references Biggie's death as well as like other rappers' murders and that kind of thing. It was okay. Could have done without that song actually. Now we're gonna get to track 3, Spit Your Game, featuring Twista and Bone Thugs and Harmony. That was produced by Swiss Beats. That was the second single of the album. I remember that song being very popular in not so much on radio, but like more on like video outlets, MTV, BET, like places like that. I never cared for this song, just I don't know, man. Just like Biggie, it just doesn't sound good over this beat. It's just I didn't really care for it, It just doesn't gel very well. The Biggie's verse was derived from Notorious Thug, so it only made sense for them to use that. But I just didn't fit. I don't think that Biggie fit on this song. Twista and Bone Thugs, okay, that I could understand that if it was just them on this beat. I could understand that, but to add Biggie, it just didn't seem well. It just seems like more like a mashup, which I'll talk about later on throughout this whole album. So that's track three, Spit Your Game. Again, that was the second single of the album. Track four, What You Want. Jay Z and Biggie. Um, basically, um, the song, from what I understand, was kind of like a song that was recorded around the Ready to Die a little after. Um, just by well, the song itself, What You Want, is a leftover track, but Jay Z is not on the original track. It was just Biggie. Um, Obviously Jay Z, not to say they didn't know each other back then, back in like before like '94, but Jay Z was not on the original track, so I just had to throw it out there. Again, this was like an okay track. This was produced by Danger and Timberland. I wasn't too fond of the beat. Could have done without it, honestly. Didn't care for that. So that was track four, What You Want. Track five, Get Your Grind On. Now we're talking. Now, definitely one of my favorite tracks of the album. This features Big Pun, Fat Joe, and Freeway. Fucking dope joint right here. This was produced by Sean C. As I mentioned before, Freeway is actually on the chorus. I wrote some lines on here. Pun fucking caught a body with this shit. Like the line when he said, I never reject an offer to battle, slap a cough on the saddle, and rattle like a wooden horse to el barrio. Niggas talk but they babble, cause they ain't saying nothing. If they ain't blazing something with the Mac, I'm the shack I'm in the shack baking muffin. Fake the funk and get your rump roast. One dose of the toast will make you jump if you come close. Whoo! Fire. Recipe's a big pun, man. Super slept on, and I just feel like he never got his props because he was Boricua. That's my personal opinion. That's how I feel. You know what I'm saying? And people like to always compare Big Pun and Biggie, and it's like just because they're fat. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of wild to me if you ask me. All right, so that's track five. Get Your Grind On. One of my favorite tracks. Love the beat. Beat definitely has like that late '90s East Coast, like that, like kind of like almost like Havoc Mob Deep esque kind of feel to it. You know what I mean? Like that murder music era kind of has that feel to it. At least to me. Now we're gonna go to track six. We got Living a Life featuring Snoop Dogg, Ludacris, Faith Evans, Sherry Dennis, and Bobby Valentino. That was produced by Coptic. Was not a fan of this song at all. Could have done without that song, honestly. So we're gonna go to track seven, The Greatest Rapper Interlude. Basically saying, CJ, who's Biggie's son, that's the little boy that had the afro on Ready to Die, basically saying, his dad is the greatest rapper of all time, that kind of thing, the greatest rapper ever, that kind of thing. It's just a skit, so nothing too crazy. So that was track seven. All right, then we go to track eight, 1970 something, featuring The Game and Faith Evans. This was a cool track. This was produced by Cool and Dre. Basically, Dre and Vidal. Basically, the song was Biggie's verse was derived from the song Respect off Ready to Die, which I think was like the weakest track, one of the weakest tracks of the album. That Friend of Mine and Big Papa, I could have done without those songs. Other than that, I love the rest of the album, but just those three songs I could have done without, honest. I'm gonna be real with you. Even though I'm a little burnt out of Juicy 2, but I'd rather listen to Juicy over those three songs I mentioned before. But this was a cool track right here. I like the line by Biggie when he says, now I'm 13, smoking blunts, making cream on the drug scene, fuck a football team, risking ruptured spleens by the age of 16, hearing the cold scream, ain't my lifetime dream. Fucking dope right there. So I thought that was pretty cool. So that was track 8, 1970 something. Track 9, Nasty Girl. That was produced by Jazzy Faye. That was the first single of the album. That song probably like was like his biggest song off that album. I remember hearing that on the radio. It was like all over video outlets and that kind of thing. That song features Diddy, Nelly, Jagged Edge, and Avery Storm. Um, Pretty cool track right here. I do like the beat. The beat is kind of dope. I'm not gonna hold you. Um, I like the line by Biggie when he says, "If they watch TV in the Lex, they know. 4:15, left the club tipsy. Say no more. Except how I'm getting home tomorrow. Caesar drop you off where he says P.O. Back in my mind, I hope she swallow. Man, she spilled the drink and my cream wallows. Woo! Fire. Love that shit right there. That shit go hard right there. So that's track 9, Nasty Girl. Pretty dope stuff right there. Track 10, Living in Pain. That song is derived of the song that Tupac and Biggie made. It was actually called House of Pain, which they did, I think, around 93, 94, around that time period. Dope joint right there. I like the beat for it. I like the line by Biggie when he said, oh, that was produced by Just Blaze, by the way. That was produced by Just, hearing like background noises outside. I like the line by Biggie when he said, don't you know that the killing, the thrilling, or the blood spilling is all part of the drug dealing? A born gangster, my daddy was a thug, had a 38 with the hollow point slug. Woo! Fire. Dope shit right there. That was actually produced by Just Blaze, so definitely a dope joint right there. Track 11, I'm With Whatever, featuring Lil Wayne, Joel Santana, and Jim Jones. That was produced by Stevie J. That song was okay. If it was just them, just Joel Santana, Jim Jones, Lil Wayne, okay, I could understand. But just having Biggie on this didn't really gel very well. No, I'm good on that. I didn't like that track actually. Track 12, Beef. Obviously, the song is derived from his verses from the song "What's Beef" that was on the Life After Death album. This features Mobb Deep. This was produced by Havoc. This was an okay track. Again, this was a kind of a weak beat from Havoc, and Havoc is one of my favorite producers of all time. But the beat was kind of weak, in my opinion. I feel like he could have done better. He's seen better days. I'll just have to say it like that. So, it's like one of those things like it looks good on paper, but it just didn't really serve very well. And I hate to say that, but yeah, 12 Beef. It was okay. It is what it is. I could have done without that, honestly. Track 13 is My Dad Interlude. It is Tiana, who is Biggie's daughter, just basically saying like she appreciates her dad's friends and fans, that she appreciates the love that that they give her dad, and that how she misses her and misses her dad and misses him and love him and that kind of thing. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the skit. So that was track 13, My Dad Interlude. Track 14, Hustle Story, featuring Scarface, Akon, and Big G of both Boys in the Hood. That was produced by Sugar Mike, Reefer, Diddy, and Marijuana's and J Dub. Those are the producers of the album of that song. I like the line by Biggie when he says, "Jet skiing in the Caribbean, white sands, discussing plans with my man's dark blue land. Smoke tint, chrome rims, and system that leaves your views trembling. What you gonna do when Papa catch an attitude? Drop to your knees and show gratitude." Dope. Scarface when it says, "I'm on some get back shit. There comes a time in every man's mind that when it's deeper than dollar signs, I've been on the grind. Got homies doing time behind niggas acting like bitches and bitches dropping dimes." Whoo! Fire. Scarface, man, Scarface is the king of the South. Fuck all that. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. Love that shit. Alright, so that was track 14, Hustle Story. Track 15, Breaking Old Habits, featuring T.I. and Slim Thug. That was produced by Chick Santana. Could have done without that song. I'm not a fan of Ti. Slim Thug is cool, but Ti, my personal opinion. So I never cared anything he dropped. And the way y'all niggas be fucking blowing that nigga up like that, and his stupid fucking podcast that didn't last long, and he tries too hard to say like big words, and he just sounds stupid. It's like, just stop. That's why that shit didn't last long, because people didn't take that shit serious. But anyways, getting back to the album. Now when you get to track 16, Ultimate Rush featuring Missy Elliott. That was produced by Scott Storch. Not a fan of that song at all. Could have done without that. Then we got the song, track 17, Mikasa featuring R. Kelly and Charlie Wilson. This was a cool track. This was produced by Green Lantern. The verse was actually from the song Friend of Mine, or from Ready to Die. This was a cool track. But again, that was a friend of mine's, like I said, friend of mine's, Respect and Big Papa to me were the weaker tracks of Ready to Die. Other than that, Ready to Die is a 5-man classic in my personal opinion. So that was track 17, Mikasa. Track 18, Little Homie, interlude. It's basically Lil C's bigging up Biggie, nothing too crazy. That's basically what I got from that song right there, from that interlude right there. Then we gotta go to track 19, Hold Your Head, featuring Bob Marley. That was the third and final single of the album. I remember this song being played a lot on, video outlets. I'm not sure if that song was really big on I'm not sure if it was on like radio stations. I wasn't really listening to the radio, but when I did, songs like Nasty Girl would pop up a lot. But Hold Your Head, that was produced by Scram Jones. Never been a fan of this song. Just been kind of tired of, burnt out of it. It would always play on your MTV Jams and that kind of thing. It's just like, oh my fucking god, like every hour they fucking play that video. It's like, yo, this shit is not that good, yo. Like, if you guys remember, if you guys are my age and you guys remember that time period, MTV Jams, or whatever video outlets you guys had at that time, they would play that shit so much. Just wasn't a fan, man. It's just the beat sounds like a throwaway Eminem beat. It just sounds like something that, and Scram Jones is, and yeah, Scram Jones, he's a dope producer. It's just no, I'm sorry, Clinton Sparks. Sorry, pardon self. Clinton Sparks did the beat, and Clinton Sparks is a dope producer. That album that he dropped, I think it's called Maybe You've Been Brainwashed, that came out that same year in 2005. Fire, dope album. But that song, it just didn't do anything. Again, for one thing, they got the lyrics from Suicidal Thoughts, and then they had Bob Marley, his verse from, or the hook rather, from Johnny Was. I just was not a fan of this song at all. And like I said, the video didn't do anything. It's just, I fuck that song. I hated that shit. Fuck that song. That's all I have to say about that. Then we're gonna go to track 20, Just a Memory, featuring Eclipse. That was produced by Scram Jones. Dope song right there. Killed it. All three of them killed it. The beat is dope. Dope shit right there. All three of them did their thing. I like the line by Biggie when he says, "I hope your creeps got receipts. My peeps get dirty like cleats. Run up in your crib, wrap you in your polo sheets. Six up in your wig piece, nigga deceased. Moi, may you rest in peace. With my sycamore style, more sicker than yours. 4-4 and 54 draw. Whew, fire." Pusha T when he says, "Admire the verses, they inspired by the hearses that carry my niggas and had the church mothers cursing. Imagine the glamour that comes out of the floor as a nigga who's still playing snow like Santa. The wrist is rushing, my ears is blushing, and the diamonds in the chain big as grandma's buttons." Whew, fire. Malice when he said, "Even as a youth, I was loitering in the stoop. Underneath the nose and the feds had no clue. I was pushing keys in the V with no roof, rich black, two big guns and no coof." Dope shit right there. Alright, so that's track 20, Just a Memory. Track 21, Wake Up featuring Korn. That was produced by Jonathan Davis and Atticus. Forgot that guy's name, but this was a cool track. The Biggie's verse was derived from both "Kick in the Door" and "If I Should Die Before I Wake" off the Born Again album. "Kick in the Door," you guys know from Life After Death. Yeah, it was a cool track for Korn, not for Biggie. I just didn't understand that. And track 22, Love is Everlasting outro. That's just basically Valletta Wallace, may she rest in peace. Just spitting a verse about Biggie, basically. All right, so that's pretty much it. My thoughts on this album, not good at all. It didn't really feel like an album. It just felt like a mixtape. It just felt like a very professional, glassed up mixtape. It just felt like a mashup mixtape. It didn't really fit. Some of the production just didn't really fit Biggie. These are artists that I don't see him realistically working with. You know, we wouldn't know until he was alive. But obviously he's not. He's been dead since 1997, which is 29 years, almost 29 years ago. But yeah, just like the beats and the features, like Lil Wayne and T.I. and like what the fuck, like, you know, Twista I can understand. Bone Thugs he's worked with before. Big Pun I could definitely see him rapping. Fat Joe, you know, Cap Joe you could say, nigga be lying to her. He has a whole album with Biggie, but there's no song that has surfaced, so stop fucking lying, Fat Joe. Freeway, I could see that, I guess. Snoop Dogg, I could definitely see him doing a song with. Faith Evans, how he did. The Game, I could see him doing a song with The Game. That would have been dope. Diddy, of course. Tupac, they did a song House of Pain. Nas, that would have been a dope. You know, if they were alive, him and Nas would have been dope. But then, like, Lil Wayne and Joel Santana, like, get the fuck out of here. Like, no. Mobb Deep, that definitely would have suited well, especially, like, in the late 90s, for sure. Scarface, I could definitely see him and Scarface doing a track together. T.I. and Slim Thug, like, get the fuck out of here. Missy Elliott, maybe she did, like, the singing part. I could see her doing that. Charlie Wilson, I could definitely see him doing a song with Charlie Wilson for sure. Bob Marley, I mean, come on, dog. He's been dead since the 80s, man. Since 1981. Get the fuck out of here. Clips, debatable, because they've been around since, like, the mid to late 90s, so I could kind of see that. Yeah, it's just, like, again, the unrealistic compilation. I mean, the guest appearances and, like, the production. And I get it. Like, you know, because a lot of the songs were songs that were recorded between Ready to Die and Life After Death. And there's only but so much vocals that you can get from Biggie. So this was definitely like a cash grab, for sure. It's not like Tupac, where like Tupac, you know, he was a studio rat. He lived in the studio. He would record songs after songs. That's why, like, he has so much unreleased songs that's out on the internet. And, you know, even though they remixed a lot of those, a lot of the originals you can find on YouTube. Unlike these, you know what I'm saying? It's I don't know, I don't get it, man. Again, it's just like a very polished mashup mixtape. That's all this album is. So definitely a cash grab from Diddy. Fuck Diddy. Yeah, so fuck that dude. It's just, man, it's just not good, man. It did not do Biggie justice. I hated this album. It has its decent moments. Like I said, you Get Your Grind On, 1970 something was good. Nasty Girl I do like. Living in Pain was cool. Hustle Story was okay. And Just a Memory. And that's not enough. And 22 tracks. 22 fucking tracks, man. Way too much filler on this album. So, yeah. That's my thoughts on it. Born Again would make more sense because at least those beats sound like something Biggie would have rapped over in the late 90s. So I could definitely see him. That seems more fitting. So I would say Born Again is a lot better than this bullshit album. But Born Again has its moments too. It's not great. It's not a classic, but it's a decent album. But I would rather listen to Born Again over this piece of shit. So that's my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. All right.